Welcome to Dreamed It, Then Real Lifed It, the podcast where we dive deep into the journey from vision to reality. I'm Kelly Jackson, your guide on this path of self-discovery, transformation, and intentional living. Here, we explore everything from mindset shifts and personal growth to spiritual alignment and entrepreneurship, sharing insights, stories, and actionable wisdom to help you live a life in harmony with your dreams. Every episode will dig into what it means to not only dream big, but to actually consciously create the life you envision. Let's turn your dreams into real life. Today is May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. And while I would not call myself a Star Wars expert by any stretch of the imagination, I saw that Monday fell on May 4th and said, you know what? I've always loved the idea of the Force, this invisible thing that guides, connects, and moves through everything. And so today is the perfect day to talk about that. Like, what if we stop looking for something outside of us and start trusting the force that already exists within us? Okay, so in Star Wars, the force is this unseen energy. It's something that you can't always explain, but you can feel. And it is something that guides decisions and creates alignment and influences outcomes. Okay. Whether you call it intuition or awareness or energy or alignment or something else, we all have access to something like that. Okay? Your inner force. And that's what we're going to call it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Your inner force. Okay. This is the core. So your inner force is your intuition. It's your awareness, your nervous system signals, your truth, and your sense of alignment. Your inner force is going to be the part of you that knows, feels it somatically before you can logically explain it. Okay? And I know you have experienced that before. And like when you know something is off, like you just know it, or you feel pulled to something, even if you don't know why, there's just like, I'm being pulled to that. You're curious, you want to explore, you want to get closer. Having this felt sense of when to speak and not to speak. Knowing when something is complete. Okay, we all have this. We all have access to this. This exists within everyone. Okay? Everyone. Not everyone is as tuned into it, right? Not everyone is as attuned to their inner force. But everyone has the capacity to be tuned into this, to your inner force, right? And to receive guidance and intuition and a sense of alignment and all of this stuff from your inner force. Okay. So why do people not trust it sometimes? If we know how powerful it is and that it is guiding us in the direction in alignment with our highest selves, why don't we trust it sometimes? And the reason is because so many of us have learned to override it. That's why most people don't trust it. So ignoring red flags, that is overriding your inner force. Staying in things too long. Second guessing themselves. Like people are second guessing themselves. They don't trust their intuition. Outsourcing decisions. This is a big one. Asking other people for their opinions on everything all the time. Outsourcing decisions. I mean, from something as simple as what to wear to an event. I got to check with my friend first. I got to get this person's opinion. What do you think of this outfit? What are you wearing? What should I wear? Do you like this? Do you not like this? Should I wear this? Should I wear that? Right? That's like you're not trusting your own intuition. How does it feel in your body? How do you feel in it? Right? Not having to constantly, and outfits is one example, but we do this with all kinds of things. Something as simple as that, but that's pretty much a big deal too, though. You want to, have that autonomy, be able to make your own choices about what you wear. Wear something that you feel good in. Trust your intuition. And choosing logic over feeling every time. Like consistently choosing logic over feeling. And that will eventually create a distrust in your own inner force. And this is something that we, in general, have been conditioned to do. And it's not that we don't have the capacity or that this guidance isn't available to us or that we lack the guidance, because we don't. It's there. It's there. It really is. We have, again, just been conditioned to ignore it. So what does it look like when you follow it then? It looks like saying no without justification, or over-explaining, leaving something without needing full explanation, choosing something that feels right, even if it doesn't make sense yet, moving slower, trusting timing, following your inner force definitely doesn't always look impressive. It's like sometimes it's just, all right, I'm over here being honest and I don't understand. It doesn't make sense, but this is what feels right. And I'm honoring that. And I'm trusting the timing, and I'm trusting the process, and I'm trusting the beautiful unfolding of my life. And I pivot when I need to pivot, and I calibrate when I need to calibrate, and I keep leaning in and trusting and listening and quieting the mind enough to hear the guidance. That's a big one. If you have an opportunity to tune into, it's the most downloaded episode, and I 100% believe so for a reason. It's called Unlocking Potential, Meditation and the Quantum Field. I believe it's episode 14. Let me check. I'm right. I have my little notebook here. Okay. Yes. Episode 14, Unlocking Potential, Meditation in the Quantum Field. So silence the mind and the soul will speak. We got to understand that If we are constantly going, constantly chattering, constantly overriding through distraction, through just not giving ourselves a chance to sit with it, then that's another reason or way that we can become disconnected from that inner force and condition ourselves to ignore it when it's speaking. I'll give you an example. It was a conversation I was involved in recently with someone who was saying that they felt exhausted and wanted to get an energy drink. And that used to be a loop that I was in. I would be exhausted and then I would drink like 2 of those energy drinks a day. And then felt like, every day, no, I've got to have this. I got to have my energy. But at the time, I was getting on average about 4 hours of sleep a night and pretty regularly pulling all-nighters where I just wouldn't go to bed at all. And so what I was doing was overriding my body's signals of exhaustion by consuming more caffeine and saying, well, this will wake me up. But my body was giving me clear signals that we're exhausted, and rightfully so, because again, I was not getting adequate sleep or quality sleep. It was like a combination. So we can condition ourselves to ignore or override the signs and signals and things like that. And that's why sometimes it's good to step back, even from our own lives, look at our lives with loving kindness, right? Non-judgment, from a place of compassion, but step back and evaluate how we're moving and how we're engaging and interacting with others in relationships in the world around us, and be sure that we're not going on autopilot and that we are making choices that feel aligned for the version of us that we are becoming, and that we're not running off of some older, outdated programs, right, from the past, or a version of us that's no longer aligned with our highest calling. And so I would say that in my life recently, there have been some things like where I was, for instance, stepping away from a rigid structure that I had created for myself. And then through stepping away from that rigid structure, I discovered new spaces and new communities and revisited old ones and reignited old relationships like that re-entered my life in a new season, and realizing that you don't have to choose one identity. It's this beautiful blend of all of the best parts of yourself. That's who you can decide you want to become. You've experienced different versions of yourself, and you've been your best self in different ways, different fragments, right? You had moments when you were really shining in this certain specific way in one area of your life or something like that. And then in other seasons, you'll have something else that's like you're really shining and giving energy and attention and focus to this, and it's amazing. But ultimately, what you're striving for is to be the best of all those things all at the same time, right? To have the capacity to not only be able to shine and be this one version of yourself at a time. It's growing this capacity where you can hold all these highest and best versions of yourself, and still, of course, have room for the version that's learning, that's stumbling, that's making mistakes, that's failing forward, that's becoming. But then also to be able to sustain and maintain all of these best parts of these other versions of yourself that you've been like, wow, I discovered this about myself and I really love that about myself, and I'm going to bring that forward into the next version of myself, right? And as you continue on this path and your capacity grows and you're able to hold all of those versions of yourself simultaneously, you're able to operate from true embodiment. Not just like, oh, I did it for a couple months and then it slipped away. It's like, no, and that's what I'm saying by capacity. It's when you're able to move and this becomes an embodied part of who you are, and you're able to keep integrating all of these aspects of yourself that you love and admire and respect and get excited about yourself, right? Some things that you're like, this is who I want to be. This is how I want to present to the world. This is how it feels good to show up. This is how I want to be known or recognized or remembered. And all of this exists within you. And I guess I got off on a little bit of a tangent, but to bring it back to what we were talking about, I have been in a season where I've had to trust all of that more, the breaking loops, all of this, right? Not to force clarity, but to follow what feels aligned in real time. And this makes it embodied, okay, not theoretical. Most people are waiting for a sign and then a signier sign for more clarity, for certainty. But the truth is this, guys. You've been feeling it the whole time, okay? And your inner force does not shout, and it doesn't convince, and it doesn't argue, and it doesn't have to, okay? It just knows. And maybe today, on May 4th, or whatever day you may be listening to this, and instead of asking what you should do, ask yourself what already feels true. And then have the courage to follow it. I am going to end it there for today, because my intuition says that's a good place to end for today. And this is a quick episode, but you know what? Some days I feel like the transmission comes through and the message is delivered and it's short and sweet, and it doesn't need to be, dragged out any longer than that. I feel like this is what I came here to say today. And I'm going to leave it at that. I will invite you to, in the show notes, there, like wherever you're watching this or listening to this, rather, on your podcast platform, right there for this episode in the show notes, I'm going to put some links for you. I've got lots of new stuff going on, guys, like some really cool, exciting, fun new stuff happening. And so click on that link and check it out and just see which of those things captures your attention, which you may be interested in. And there's also, I want to remind you about the podcast apprenticeship that's happening. So check that out. It's on the Dreamed It Then Real Life It Instagram. And I hope that you'll take a moment and leave a rating or a review, or maybe take a screenshot and share this episode in your stories if you enjoyed it. That would be awesome. And thanks for being here. I will see you next week. Oh, and join the Sunday Spark too. Check that out. Links in the show notes. The Sunday Spark. I think you'll like it. All right, I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Before we begin, let's land for a moment. You showed up today because part of you is turning toward truth, expansion, and alignment. Sunday Spark is my weekly email created for the ones who are ready to live life in full ownership, to build in rhythm and grow from a place of ease. Each letter includes insights, activation prompts, and practical tools woven through my holistic trifecta, which is optimal health, positive relationships, and wealth building. And the best part? It's only 45 to 90 seconds to read. It's a quick spark, a gentle activation, something you can carry into your week. If you want that kind of moment in your inbox every Sunday, you're invited. Sunday Spark is there. It's ready when you are. The link to join is in the show notes. Thank you for tuning in to Dreamed It Then Real Lifed It. I hope today's episode sparked something powerful within you. Remember, every step you take towards your vision counts, no matter how small. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please take a second to hit that subscribe button or leave a review. That would be amazing. Or share the podcast with someone who's ready to bring their dreams into reality too. And if you're looking to dive deeper, connect with me on social media at Dreamed It Then Real Lifed It or at BE_what you want. Or visit dreameditthenreallifedit.us for more resources on aligning your life, business, and dreams. Until next time, keep dreaming and keep manifesting your dreams into real life. Love you, friends.